Hello YouTube, this is Wakia Lion coming to you pre-record from his camper. When discussing the pylon fire, for me, it might be the most difficult to really pin down and give a fully developed form to it. Unlike, say, wisdom, which I have thought about fairly extensively and have some reference points to work off of, like Goodwill Hunting and The Lord of the Rings, passion is an emotion that I don't really see, nor I think our culture really sees in a fully overt, tangible way. Robin Williams is a good reference to go to because he was a very passionate man who could play passionate parts, such as John Keating in Dead Poets Society or Patch Adams in Patch Adams. But the concept of passion is very, very underdeveloped, I believe, in our American minds. It's just something that's been kind of quashed in us, at least in me. It's understandable. Passion is fire, and fire can be extremely scary if not extinguished or heavily controlled. As we'll soon see, many of the paths or schools that form the realm of fire don't sound very welcoming in many ways, now being associated with much more bad than good. As I have written at the top of my whiteboard, passion is the realm of manic irrationality and of red emotions: anger, lust, greed, vanity, but also joy, willpower, aggression, and hope. These are emotions associated with people who have high hunger drives rather than the equivalent to water and wisdom, high satisfaction drives, are heavily associated with manic irrational activities such as sports, combat, adrenaline oriented professions, gambling, showmanship, etc. Relatively speaking, these are not highly celebrated activities in our society. I say this in that even though these activities are glorified in our society, they're extremely controlled, toned down, narrow, or looked at as borderline evil in some ways. Sports are a rinse and repeat escape activity that means nothing in the real world. The showmanship is fake as can be. And adrenaline professions like ER nurse or soldier are kind of snubbed at and treated as ultimately gross and a waste of human effort in many ways. This is at least in comparison to, say, manipulating people in marketing schemes or being a manager with a PhD in African penile rituals with no practical experience of the field. Hopefully, by the end of this video, and after exploring what exactly passion means in the context of Chaldeanism, we'll have a better understanding of why the things we think are bad are actually good, and why the things we think are good, but toning it down, is bad, and why we should consider re-embracing the virtue of passion with a new perspective that could give it a whole new, fully realized life within our societal worldview. To start off with, the spirit, represented by the sign Aries and governed by Lord Mars, lives by the natural law might makes right. This is the fundamental principle that governs the school by which Mars represents, the path of predation, and the core concept that the path of predation tackles in our and society's life: the will to survive. The idea of the will to survive is a pathological drive that forms the tree stump that takes the roots that are the red emotions and focuses them into the trunk that is the path of predation. The path consisting of the tempering meditations of hunger, instilling the drive for life and confidence to go out and grab it, aggression, tempering the red emotions to turn it into a tool set rather than an all-consuming hellfire, and sportsmanship, the instilling of the idea of winning and losing, and the ability to know the difference. These meditations that form the trunk of the tree then branches off into the traits that the path is seeking and cultivating within the individual. Traits such as discipline, focus, and timing. A passionate person should, at the very least, show these key traits. Traits that form the foundation of a truly passionate person who's serious rather than a loose cannon who seeks to only kill life rather than revel in it. Having these characteristics shows that they have a strong understanding of their innate primal tendencies and the instincts to sense them in others, in effect, creating a sense of respect for themselves and, by proxy, having the keen sense to surround themselves with respectable people. The body, represented by the sign Leo and governed by the sun, functions by the natural law, know thyself, and is the governing, holistic principle of the path of solar regality. Self-projection is the key trait that solar regality embodies, being able to project your will into the world and, in effect, creates a sense of stability, security, and warmth. It stems from the will to thrive, taking the red emotions and channeling them through a fundamental desire for a person to fully realize their vanity, finding their place in the world and the acknowledgement of their place within the world. Everyone wants to be seen, no matter how open or subtle it may be, and to be appropriately acknowledged for what you do is what the will to thrive is all about. Self-projection is, at its core, a presence with the ability to command acknowledgement, not because you demand it, but because you simply exist within the space given. Your individuality is strong enough and clear enough for others to appreciate you and what you do without question. You're not a victim of your own humilities, in other words. An inability to speak well, a severe nervous tic, a fundamental distrust of others. These things are not hidden, but are fully displayed and acknowledged by you, the individual, and are not so much suppressed, but honed in such a way as for you to not lose your dignity in displaying them. As an example, learning how to speak well, but in the same way, using different bridge words other than cursing or cussing. Acknowledging your nervous tic and addressing it instead of biting your nails, clasping your hands together and twirling your thumbs, and being willing to take risks on other people, but being more systematic about it instead of being closed off completely. You do these things not just for yourself, but for those around you as well, fostering an environment of solar gift giving and assuredness, an environment of warmth that puts people at ease and allows them to be themselves in such a way where they don't feel alone in their oddities, but they don't feel the need to pin their entire identity on their oddities as well. The mind, represented by Sagittarius and Lord Jupiter, adheres to the natural law, purpose is joy, and is the principal credence to the path of joviality. Joviality stems from the will to glorify, the desire to spread the good word, to build the wonders of your infatuation, to revel in the glee of worldly experiences, and to share with everyone you meet along the way the boundless joy you feel for your passions, and to discover new passions along the way. Ultimately, it's the will to glorify life itself. In many ways, joviality is the belief in truth. The truth that one sticks to with conviction and with righteousness. To embody that truth without shame. This is not the same as fanaticism. Fanaticism is the vice of curiosity, the virtue of error, and is primarily indicated by a dogmatic stubbornness towards not learning anything new or considering anything to the contrary. It's inherently cowardly, in other words. Righteousness, in this case, means that a person is unashamed of what they believe in and will test the mettle of their beliefs against any and all who would defy them. It's inherently flashy and taunting, in other words. In this, the ultimate goal of joviality is to promote truth-seeking, to indulge and explore all that the world has to offer in the act of pursuing the truth, and maybe finding it along the way. It's always questioning the destination, but never the conviction of the journey. In doing this, truth-seeking as well, and heralding what has been found or what can be given, the jovial person spreads joy in all that they seek and explore. By the end of it, the truth that they seek being the self-mastery of that which compelled them to seek to begin with, and to glorify the discovery by bringing its riches to all who would have it. The characteristics of this type of passionate person is always seeking, exploring, testing, and fighting for what they believe in, that they have something that they believe in and will always be happy to share it with someone who cares to know. In this conviction, never stopping until they come to find their purpose in life. To put a nice bow on it, the best way to understand the nature of the pylon of fire and passion is to simply think of a fire and the three layers that makes up its body. The heart is Aries, the hottest part of the flame, but nonetheless the point of combustion for the whole thing. That it takes focus, discipline, and a fundamental drive to attack and consume whatever it is that the passion is trying to eat. This is what is necessary for passion to survive. The flame itself is Leo. The body or the mane of the flame is the dazzling dance of the sparks of that consumption. This is where the projection of the light and the warmth of the flame is livable and likable. And so should the passionate person be able to manage their fire to such a degree as to accommodate all who are within their realm, no matter how brightly it may shine or how dim it may be. This is what is necessary for passion to thrive. To not be seen as simply an insufferable danger to all who would want to extinguish it. And finally, the embers of the flame itself, flaking off to explore the realms beyond its own domain, braving the dark and spreading the light of the passion's delight. The herald of Sagittarius is necessary for passion to be glorified, to be seen as more than oddity or a hazard, to be seen for the potential that it truly is capable of, and to spread the light, to be seen, and in turn, for it to see what the dark kept hidden from it. This is what passion is: hunger, solar projection, righteousness, self-mastery, stability, warmth, discipline. This is what is necessary for passion to survive, thrive, and glorify life. And are the traits I hope to see make a comeback in the modern world. Thank you, dear listener. If you like the video and my writing, I suggest checking out my library on Facebook through Google Cloud. My book, Warren, is a set of stories placed in the world of Warren and heavily influenced by many different ideas and beliefs that I hold in both high regard and close to my heart. Again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to lecturing you again in the next video. Bye.